Frozen.
So here, did you not hear me? Sorry. Can
No,
you hear me?
okay. Weiss,
Here.
Whitmore,
Here.
and Bruno.
Here. All right, tonight's invocation, Lord God, as we gather together in service to the people of Winthrop Harbor, we ask for your guidance. Grant our nation a spirit of patience as we await the results of our election. As our nation pauses this month to honor our veterans who have sacrificed for our freedom and protection, we ask you to keep in your care those men and women who have died in the cause of freedom and bring them safely into your kingdom of light, justice, and peace. We lift up to you those families who have lost loved ones serving our country. Comfort them with the hope of being reunited with them in your kingdom. We lift up to you those men and women now serving to protect us. Watch over them and keep them safe. Strengthen the families who have members serving now. As we celebrate Thanksgiving later this month, grant us a spirit of gratitude for this great nation you have entrusted to us. Help us selflessly share the gifts you have given us with others. Finally, Lord, we pray for all elected leaders. May they serve in such a way that we are truly one nation under you, our God. Bless our nation and protect us from all threats to our freedom. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
All right, first item, approval of the minutes of previous meeting. I need a motion to approve the October 6th, 2020 virtual regular board meeting minutes.
Trustee Marabella, so moved.
Trustee Weiss, second.
Right, any discussion on those minutes? A roll call, please.
Target,
Aye.
Levin,
Aye.
Marabella,
Aye.
McCarthy,
Aye.
Weiss,
Aye.
Whitmore.
Aye.
Motion carried. We move on to mayor's report. I need a motion to set aside the rules of the president and board of trustees to waive the first and second readings of an ordinance ratifying and extending mayoral declaration of emergency related to coronavirus.
Trustee Marabella, so moved.
Trustee Weiss, second.
All right. Roll call, please.
Target,
Aye.
Levin,
Aye.
Marabella,
Aye.
McCarthy,
Aye.
Weiss,
Aye.
Whitmore.
Aye.
Motion carried. Next item, I met with the village attorney as well as the village administrator, and I wanted this to be put on the agenda. But I need a motion to adopt a resolution requesting the governor's office and Illinois Department of Public Health to reevaluate collection, analysis, and benchmarks for regional data related to COVID-19 and how that data is applied to decision-making associated with mitigation mandates.
Target, so moved.
Trustee Marabella, second.
Okay, I would like our village clerk, Julie Rittenhouse, to read that resolution.
Okay, a resolution requesting the governor's office and Illinois Department of Public Health to reevaluate collections, analysis, and benchmarks for regional data related to COVID-19 and how that data is applied to decision-making associated with the mitigation mandates. Whereas the governor issued Executive Order 2020-65, COVID-19 Executive Order number 61 on October 29th, 2020, And whereas this executive order commanded the imposition of severe restrictions on restaurants and bars within Lake County, including those in Winthrop Harbor. And whereas the imposition of such restrictions should be done only in circumstances that are absolutely necessary because they work serious hardships on businesses, their owners, and their employees, and may even cause a number of them to fail and close permanently. And whereas business failures can and often do lead to downstream hardships on working men and women, resulting in bankruptcies, foreclosures, and severe disruption in their lives and those of their families. And whereas the executive order claimed to be based on solid science and data, but the same was not provided nor made available to the public, despite the impact upon the public by these actions. And whereas the mayor and village board find that imposing restrictions upon local businesses without disclosing the critically important data and science underlying it is inappropriate, opaque, and unfair to the hardworking families of our communities. And whereas the mayor and village board further find that even if there is a scientific basis for this imposition of restrictions, the scope of the restrictions imposed appears to be disproportionate to the risk presented by allowing restaurants and bars to remain open. And for this reason, the data and the methodology used should be given a second review by an independent panel of experts in epidemiology used should have given a second review by the independent panel experts to ensure that the limitations are very least absolutely necessary to protect the public safety. Now therefore be it resolved by the village board, by the village of Winthrop Harbor, Lake County, Illinois as follows. Section 1, the governor is respectfully requested to order the disclosure of the scientific underpinnings of Executive Order 2020-65, including all relevant data and the methodology used to evaluate the same without delay. Section 2, the governor is further respectfully requested to order a re-evaluation of the data used to underpin Executive Order 2020-65 by an independent panel of expert epidemiologists. Section 3, this resolution shall take effect immediately upon passage. Passed by the Board of Trustees of the Village of Winthrop Harbor, Illinois on this 4th day of November 2020.
Thank you, Julie. And I would also ask Village Administrator Greg Jackson to get a copy of this resolution to Governor Pritzker, Senator Melinda Bush, and State Representative Joyce Mason. Okay. He doesn't have his.
Are we gonna have discussion on it?
Yes, have a discussion now.
So I just wanted to, it's a lot of whereases to say, right, like we don't agree with the decision, right? And I think when we saw the executive order come out last week, there was the immediate kind of political response that we saw mayors and other types come out with that I said, hey, I'm not doing this. I called Greg. I've had conversations with Greg over the last couple of weeks as we saw our numbers creeping up to try and say, okay, how are we going to handle this? What are the concerns, and trying to share any insights that I could on the data. But you know, those kind of statements you saw at Libertyville and others make don't actually do anything to change the executive order. I think now we're at this legislative stage to say, okay, this is the approach we can take. We can try and lobby on behalf of our community, our businesses, to try and see change to the orders. The other thing I'll say is my personal opinion is the communities that are saying, I will not enforce this, have it backwards, because it doesn't make the executive order go away. It just attracts attention from the state, from the county, you know, other enforcement authorities. My personal opinion is that we should be taking as much of the enforcement authority as possible to say, hey, county, hey, state, you hear a complaint, right? We have the relationships with these businesses. We have the local view to be able to look and say, hey, are they living out the spirit of the executive order, right? Are they taking the precautions necessary? And I think there's a big difference between someone who's socially distancing, making people wear masks, versus a site that has an outbreak and is still saying, screw it, we're staying open, right? There's a big difference there. And just as the trustee over community development, or if we're gonna write tickets, it would come from either community development or police. And so I will just say, and I've confirmed this with Greg multiple times throughout this process, we have written 0 tickets, and our approach has not changed as executive orders have come out with different restrictions. It's been one of trying to be proactive, of Greg and Pat and others going out and talking to the businesses, sharing grant opportunities, making sure that the executive order is clear, trying to make sure they know that we're here to partner with them. And so that hasn't changed throughout. I think after this latest round of executive orders, there's been much more public outcry, and it's been much more above the radar than before. But our position hasn't changed. We've written no tickets, and we want to continue being partners with our business.
I agree with you, buddy. Who knows better the local area than us in Winthrop Harbor? The whole thing that I find disconcerting, this is a cookie cutter concept. In other words, what you have here is you've got McHenry County, who's really spiked, and Lake County. And so all of a sudden we're in a region, I say, okay, all bars and restaurants in those 2 counties are done with it, and I just heard a report where they were looking at the CDC, and the amount of related deaths to COVID-19 is a lot lower, and these are CDC numbers, than what they actually are. For the simple fact is, hospitals, if a person has cancer, basically dies from cancer, but also has COVID-19, he died from COVID-19. The reason they do this is because it's called a diagnostic related group. And if you get all these COVID-19s, and even though the people didn't die from COVID-19, the hospital gets reimbursed for it. So the numbers creep up. That's one of the things that in this resolution, it says, show us the science, show us the evidence, show us the metrics that you're using, and are they actual? Because you hear a lot of doctors and a lot of epidemiologists, they don't agree with one another. Right. It's a hit and miss type of a situation. So to lump Winthrop Harbor in with all the other communities and cities, I really feel it should be more localized. And I don't know if the governor wants to let loose of that power. We could oversee it much better than they can. That's all I have to say.
I think the biggest thing I got out of it, and with discussions with people, was that we sent them a letter, told them we were going to educate them before we were going to chastise them, which Buddy explained. I think we've done a good job of that. By educating, I mean, if we see something wrong, we're going to go in there and ask them to fix it. And if they fix it, there's no harm, no foul. The only thing that I told them that we couldn't guarantee them as a unit is if the state came in, we can't guarantee the gambling and all that. And that's a fine line. And if the state wants to do something about that, that's beyond our control at that point. I mean, we're not going to do anything about it, but who's to say the governor isn't going to come in and be nasty? Hopefully they don't do that. But that was my only concern for people, was telling them we don't control that. So if the state police, we're at their mercy. But we would do everything in our power to help every business. And I think they're all aware of that. That
and the liquor license also.
Yes, absolutely.
Jeopardy. By the way, I was at one of the restaurants. I've been going there every 2 weeks on a Monday. Virtually nobody's there. And when the people are there, the social distancing is happening. The masks are happening. Once the ordering is done and the food is there, you take your mask off and you eat it, and you just leave. You sanitize your hands. You got hand sanitizer and everything. So the ones that I've gone into, everybody is doing the right thing. So again, we as the locals, we understand it better than somebody in Springfield or somewhere else that says, hey, the whole county's got to go.
Exactly. We should not be lumped together with the entire rest of the county or other pockets of the county that is, more heavily dense populated or worse off as far as their COVID numbers. And it's hard for us, especially because we're on the border of Wisconsin. So of course our businesses are going to get hit really hard because everyone's going to bypass us, go straight up to Wisconsin. So it's really hard for us and our business owners. And it's really hard that they're picking on just bars and restaurants yet again, instead of kind of doing a blanket, closing all businesses. Instead, we're just picking on bars and restaurants again. And unfortunately, our business owners just cannot keep getting hit over and over again.
Well, one of the things that brought this resolution to the agenda is Greg and I, last Thursday evening, we were invited on the Mayor's Caucus. And on the Mayor's Caucus, the mayor of Chicago, with her medical professional, and a lot of other mayors commented. We were just on there to listen. We weren't on there to comment. But the mayor of Chicago, they use a specific model, and I can't remember the name of the model. And the state of Illinois uses a totally different model to determine where the COVID-19 comes from, or where it's being transmitted from. And the mayor of Chicago, actually the medical professional, she was very knowledgeable and very smart woman. She actually came on and said that their models are not showing that the spike of COVID-19 in Cook County is coming from bars and restaurants. It's coming from social gatherings of 25 us.
Right.
And that's why I want I want him to indicate to us where he's getting his information from and where why he's hitting bars and restaurants and not other things like social gatherings of 25 and less. The mayor of Chicago was very livid and very upset with the governor. I was quite shocked, actually. I was talking to Greg after that meeting, but that's what brought this to this resolution to our agenda. So I'm hoping when this gets sent to the governor and the senator and our state rep, I hope we get some type of feedback from the governor. So. All right, we have a motion second. We discussed it. I need a roll call, please.
Target,
Aye.
Levin.
Aye.
Marabella,
Aye.
McCarthy,
Aye.
Weiss,
Aye.
Whitmore.
Aye.
Motion carried. Okay, we move on to the third item. I need a motion to approve appointment resolution appointing Greg Jackson as the authorized agent for IMRF.
Trustee Levin,
So
so moved.
moved. Second.
Did you get that, Julie?
I think I got Levin first and Hargit second.
Okay, good. I wanted to make sure. All right, any discussion on that? All right, roll call.
Hargit,
Aye.
Levin,
Aye.
Marabella,
Aye.
McCarthy,
Aye.
Weiss,
Aye.
Whitmore.
Aye.
Very good. Motion carried. We move on to village administrator's report. Mr. Greg Jackson.
Mr. Mayor, members of the board, I've just got a number of quick issues to go through. The transition still is underway. We're still trying to reorganize the finance and HR functions in order to make sure we're still efficiently and effectively delivering the services to not only our internal customers, but our external customers. Work has begun on the tax levy, timely communication from one of the trustees, as I was going to point that out. But we've begun work on the tax levy that comes up and has to be done by December. Training schedule is still being developed, but we have some state mandated training we have to complete, in particular sexual harassment training, which will have to involve every member of staff. I was working a little bit with Mike Sheedy today and discussing the pages for the personal pages for the websites. We will hopefully have those wrapped up in short order. I had sent communication out to the members of the board regarding photo opportunities. If you want to use a headshot that you currently have, or you would like a headshot to be taken We can schedule that for next week, Thursday, if that works for you in council chambers, social distancing. And we've got our own Jimmy Olsen on staff to turn around and take pictures. So if you're ready for that, we are. Please let me know. Budget calendar's just about wrapped up. I'll be turning around and sending out budget documents within the next 2 weeks for fiscal year 21-22, because 20 can't get out of here soon enough.
Agree.
Myself, Pat DePercio, and staff continue to work on some fresh economic development initiatives. I had shared with the mayor that I had communication with our contact for sustainability at the Illinois Institute of Technology, who strongly suggests that we do not shelve the eco-campus. She believes, as her entity at the university does research, that there's two separate things, that people having classes at a university are one thing, but research always happens in the field. And she was very positive about that still being something that she felt was viable, that would pique interest despite of COVID. As
And
I
she
go,
wants to come up and meet us too, correct?
yes, yes. COVID, and she wants to meet us on two things. The other one was the micro retail.
Right.
COVID still is a concern, though there is communication and discussion as to how it spreads, and perhaps it is large gatherings, whatever the case may be, it's still spreading, and we're still having cases, and it's impacting our house, and we know that. So the extent of the spread, it's all subject to data and interpretation, but we know it's real and we know it's still there. So we're still being cautious on what we do and how our staff carries out their day-to-day functions, maintaining social distancing, wearing masks where appropriate, cleaning their hands as required, notifying us if there are any symptoms of fever or symptoms associated with COVID so we can take the appropriate action.
Well, I keep hearing that COVID's going to end with the election. So apparently it wasn't election night. It's maybe when someone gets declared winner, then COVID is done.
So in like 3 weeks.
I'm putting that on my calendar.
I highly doubt that's going to happen.
So we're currently working on 3 individual fraud cases with IDES. IDES has received 3 claims for unemployment for 3 of our employees, and we had a recent one. So, and none of these appear to have been legitimate claims. So we're now also reaching out to ADP, our company that does our payroll, because what the IDES claim comes in with is quarterly amounts that the individual employee made. Social Security numbers are there. There's a bunch of information that, from our standpoint, we cannot fathom a way that they would get into our system and be able to turn around and get that data, because that data, we do our outsourcing of our payroll. So that information, particularly to the payroll pay periods, money that they made each quarter, would be through our payroll carrier and not through us. So we're looking into that. I've alerted Chief Brumlick on it. Chief Brumlick's had me communicate with Mike Sheedy. I've been in touch with IDES, and I've got another contact that Julie provided me at ADP that I'll be working with on this.
Greg, have you heard anything on how common that is? Because I know in my organization, we've had at least 2 people whose names they've had unemployment claims filed in their names. So I don't know, hearing that that's happening at work and now hearing with the village, have they said how much of that is happening and if that's going to slow down being able to fix it?
Yeah, the occurrences are frequent. It's happening. It's broad. It's happening all over the place. It sounds like they're inundated at IDES for a number of reasons, the unemployment claims, but yeah, my concern is these employees have their Social Security information out there. That scares me more than anything else. So as they come in, I'm picking up and doing starting the ball rolling on the investigation. I got one in today that I need to talk to the employee about. It happened later in the day, so that employee can turn around and take appropriate action, or we can work with that employee and take appropriate action. we're prepping for the special audit that the change of personnel audit to begin in 2 weeks or less than 2 weeks. So that we're prepping the material for that audit. The annual audit documents have been received. The mayor and I met with the auditor to discuss the management issues and various items that need to be addressed with the audit, pros and or positives and negatives. So we were able to, I'll be able to distribute that to the board members with the financial statements at the next, before the next village board meeting. So if you have any questions, we'll be able to address those for you the best we can. The mayor also wanted me, because he was receiving some comments about opportunities we have taken advantage of in trying to get additional money into the community, and asked me to do a quick summary that I'll share with you. He was more interested, the board's been pretty much familiar with this, but he felt it was necessary with us having the meetings now on YouTube and not confined just to our calls that we once had to do, that we were relegated to doing, to make sure that the public knows that we're looking for every way we can to minimize the impact on them for funding for various projects. So very quickly, we received $3,049. That is on the agenda this evening to be approved as a grant for reimbursement for PPE purchases, and it's fully awarded and received. We've got an IPRF grant for safety equipment, which is $30,747 over 2 years. The second half of that grant's on the board's agenda tonight to be approved. That money's being used to outfit the fire department's most recent purchase of that pickup truck with lights and sirens that they weren't sure they were going to be able to do again this year, as well as some turnout gear. There's some additional equipment for public works. Parks and Recreation has an AED and some additional equipment that Scott requested, and some additional equipment for the police department, particular stop sticks. The mayor and I were on a call with Justin yesterday, as well as a couple of vice presidents from ComEd and the mayor's caucus, recognizing us for our being awarded the Mayor Caucus Commonwealth Edison matching grant. That grant, that money's been awarded and will be a matching grant. It'll be used to purchase additional turnout gear for the fire department. The 2 DECO grants, rebuild the grant for the repair on Holdridge and Culver. We're putting that out for bid again, as we discussed in a previous meeting. That's $100,000 funding awarded and will be reimbursed, or I'm sorry, will be paid. DECO's grant for the construction of the Public Works building. I visited that issue again today with our legislator's office, who said that the money is still there. It is not going anywhere. We are part of the next phase of distribution of this Rebuild Illinois grant. The office of State Rep Mason will be looking into when that money is going to be distributed. We also, in the course of the last 18 months, or I'm sorry, 2 years, worked for a budget appropriation for improvements to North Point and Marina. That funding of $375,000 was awarded by Public Act and Senate Bill 0262, released and received. The mayor testified again in front of the Senate subcommittee. The Illinois Department of Transportation, as a result of this Rebuild Illinois grant for road repairs, ended up awarding us $444,000 in road repair funds. We've already received $148,000 of that money. Myself, the mayor, and Tim Niergarten sat down and reviewed a potential project to roll this funding out and how we would phase that. We've also received in the last 2 years $71,750 from the Illinois Department of Transportation for a traffic safety grant. Monies are used to reimburse expenses associated with traffic enforcement. And then the DOJ grant for police vests, that's $2,000 funding awarded and received. And the DAS nonprofit grant for K9, $8,900 funding was awarded and received. So over in the course of the last 2 years, just about 2 years, the village has received or been awarded money that will goes directly into our town, including North Point Marina, of $1,654,366,000. The board should also know that I have a grant sitting with the Lake County Board for $1,143,000 to offset expenses associated for public safety and other expenses occurred in response to COVID. This grant had a maximum allocation beginning at $92,000 and has changed in 3 different occasions, requiring me to rewrite the grant 3 separate times. And that ends up, we are probably looking on our max allocation of potentially being awarded, and I think that'll happen within the next 30 to 60 days, of $306,114. So that is out there. We also are pending a decision on the HEROES grant, and I am working on a stormwater management grant to help fund a engineering study that Tim needs for Cabin, where the flooding was really bad over there on Cabin. So we're hoping that stormwater management will award us the money to offset the expense of the engineering study, which I think somewhere around $32,000 off the top of my head. Grant communication and assistance. Every time we got something in on a grant for the business community, we sent it out to the business community regarding COVID. Some of this has been us just communicating, and some of it has been us directly assisting with the writing or direction of the grant. But in total, I sent this to the board yesterday, but an additional $20,000 came in after that. So in total, based on grant communication and assistance, what we were able to help with in the business community was $100,824.76. In addition to that, 2 businesses have done business interruption grants associated with this mitigation order by the governor, and communicated what they've done with the grants to me. State Representative Mason's office has communicated that she would like to have that information so she can assist in expediting that grant. There's $300 and some odd million sitting out there that can be used for these grants. Other cost-saving measures that took place over the last 2 years based on the work of this board and your village staff was organizational restructuring, consolidation of copier services and contracts, replacement of credit card processing services, and the consolidation of our fire alarm system. A couple of other things real quick is that, Julie is a pit bull when it comes to noticing mistakes as it pertains to our billing. And as a result, she inevitably saves us money, but she also turns around and finds problems with our water billing and things of that nature that may end up saving our village residents money. The other thing Julie does a great job with in that office is making sure that our residents know that we know times are tough, and that if something happens and you're going to be late with the water bill, make a call to us and we'll work it out for you. And she's done a great job with that. And I can't tell you the number of times I hear her coaching people to say, listen, just give us a call. We'll be able to work this through with you. I think that's huge for us. I think that's what we're supposed to be there doing. Also, institutional knowledge is something that helps us with money too. Pat DePercio gets somebody to come into his office that puts in a permit for the work on the cell tower over at the EMA building on 7th Street, comes in with this low proposal on how much it's going to cost, which is what the dollar amount of the permit is. That's how we calculate the dollar amount of the permit. What ended up being the business's attempt to get a $300 permit, Pat challenged, and it ended up recovering about $3,000. So it was much more. It was 10 times as much. And so Pat did a great job with that. But the staff does this stuff every day. So and I know we're all proud of them for what they're doing. But I wanted to make sure I put this together at the mayor's request to make sure the public knows that the resolution tonight is to make sure that we respond to what needs to be responded to, and it's taking care of our business, which every board member has talked to me about and has expressed their concerns of arbitrary executive orders that could impact a selected industry without looking at the whole picture. And every opportunity we've had to allow businesses to work outside within safety regulations, we've allowed that to happen. We've communicated with the community. I believe we've truly, not just staff, but the village board as well, have been really, really good partners with our business community and our residents during what's been an unprecedented and trying time for all the players. So that's the end of my report, Mr. Mayor. I just wanted to make sure I got that data out you asked for.
Thank you, Greg. No, I had about 3 or 4 residents ask me about what monies we've brought in. And there's no way I could sit down and read off everything that Greg just did. So, and they do watch our videos, our village board meetings. And so I basically told them to watch this one when it gets posted, and it'll be on this one. So that's why I wanted him, and for transparency reasons, I want everyone in the village or anyone that does watch the videos to know that even though we're in COVID, we aren't stopping. We are definitely moving forward. And so that's why I really wanted that information out there. So thank you, Greg. Okay, we move on to clerk's correspondence.
Have nothing.
Have nothing. All right. Old business, there are none. So we move on to new business, committee reports, finance, trustee Weiss.
I wish I could say I have nothing, but I have a lot. Okay, item number 1 is I move that we approve accounts payable warrant 2020-11 in the amount of $289,694.73.
Second, Hargit.
Any discussion on the warrant? All right, roll call, please.
Target,
Aye.
Levin,
Aye.
Marabella? Marabella? Oh.
Aye. Sorry.
No worries. McCarthy,
Aye.
Weiss,
Aye.
Whitmore.
Motion carried.
Item number 2, I move that we approve second quarter fiscal year treasurer's report.
Second, Hargit.
Okay. Any discussion on the treasury's report? Roll call.
Target,
Aye.
Levin,
Aye.
Marabella,
Aye.
McCarthy,
Aye.
Weiss,
Aye.
Whitmore.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Okay, item number 3, I move to set aside the rules of the president and the board of trustees to waive the first and second readings of ordinance amending the wage policy ordinance of the municipal code of Winthrop Harbor, adding assistant to the village administrator.
Levin,
second.
Second. All right. Discussion. All right. Roll call, please.
Target,
Aye.
Levin,
Aye.
Marabella,
Aye.
McCarthy,
Aye.
Weiss,
Aye.
Whitmore.
Aye.
All right. Carried. Motion carried. Next item.
Item number 4, I move to set aside the rules of the president and board of trustees to waive the first and second readings of ordinance amending the appropriation ordinance of Winthrop Harbor.
Marabella, second.
All right. Any discussion on the ordinance amending the appropriation? All right. Roll call, please.
Target,
Aye.
Levin,
Aye.
Marabella,
Aye.
McCarthy,
Aye.
Weiss,
Aye.
Whitmore.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Okay, item number 5, I move we approve to accept a grant in the amount of $3,049 for PPEs reimbursement and a health safety grant in the amount of $15,787.
Trustee Whitmore, second.
All right. Any discussion on that? All right. Roll call.
Target,
Aye.
Levin,
Aye.
Marabella,
Aye.
McCarthy,
Aye.
Weiss,
Aye.
Whitmore.
Aye.
Motion carried. Thank you, Trustee Weiss. We move on to Public Works. Trustee Marabella.
Make a motion for the approval for the appropriation expenditures for emergency water valve replacement.
Trustee Weiss, second.
All right. Any discussion on that?
Tim, I think, is on if anybody wants to hear anything about it, but it's basically for replacing what we had to.
We do that every year, do we not?
No, this was
This
the
is
ninth and Russell, Mr.
The
Mayor.
main break, yeah.
All right. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Target,
Aye.
Levin,
Aye.
Marabella,
Aye.
McCarthy,
Aye.
Weiss,
Aye.
Whitmore.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Second thing I have is make a motion for the IGA Benton Township discussion.
Trustee Weiss, second.
All right, open the discussion. The intergovernmental agreement, what is that for Benton Township? Could you elaborate?
It's for the plowing and the different things we do, road repair for them.
Mr. Mayor and board members, they've opted, they being Benton Township, has opted now to consolidate those functions with Newport Township.
All right,
It is not, it's seasonal. Some years the dollar amount is a sizable dollar amount, not extreme, but in other years it's real low. This will allow, if as Tim and I discussed this will allow us to turn around and use those resources back on our roads. So rather than them being a Benton Township. And that's not to say that we didn't have a great relationship with Benton Township. We certainly did. And Supervisor Booth in that town. But he's doing like we're doing, where you're restructuring and adjusting and adapting to turn around and make moves that you think will benefit you either from an efficiency or an effectiveness standpoint. And their choice to go with Newport Township just seemed to make more sense to them to have that happen.
okay, thank you, Greg. Any other
They
questions?
used to do this before also. I mean, they brought us in because we helped them at certain times, like he said. And for Tim, it was just added stress on how he had to cover different things, and it's not really our roads, but we were getting paid extra. But basically, we're losing, but we're not really losing because it's stuff that, not that we don't have time for other stuff like that. It just takes away from our time for our stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Good partnership. All right. Now that's just discussion. We need a motion and a second on that.
No, there's no action on it, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, just wanted to make sure. All right, public comment.
Mr. Mayor, I want to, Mr. Mayor, can I say something real quick about, and the reason I want to do it now is because it's Trustee Marabella's liaison department, Public Works.
Okay.
The recent things we had happen over the last 2 days in regards to Public Works, I just want to say that Tim's done an exceptional job in strengthening the relationship with the city of Zion and their Public Works department. They talk on a constant basis. They rely on each other should they have a need, if something should come up. And that was the case over the last couple of days. Tim was easily able to make a phone call to Zion superintendent and ask him for resources should those resources be necessary. So I just want to say that as government shrinks, as it should when it's appropriate, having those relationships and those collaborations are important. And Tim's done a good job in fostering those, just like our police department with Chief Rumlick and Chief Street both do with their departments. So it's mutual aid for Public Works, and it's a great idea. So
Can I ask what our Public Works department, how many crew members do we have there right now? Active?
we've got 5.5.
Okay.
Well, zero right now.
Okay.
Well, yeah.
Okay. No, I wasn't sure how many were out. So
They're all out. That's
Okay.
for protocol. That's
Well, there's things we should be talking about in regards to HIPAA. So
yeah, understand.
yeah.
All right. Very good. Thank you, Greg. We move on to public comments. Did we have anybody submit any questions for us, Julie?
There hasn't been any.
All right, thank you. We move on to unfinished business, and I'm going with my screen. I'm going to go in my upper left-hand corner, so I have Trustee Levin first.
I just ask that everybody keep the Woolert family in your prayers. Betty Woolert, who is the wife of our former fire chief,
Neil?
and her son is lieutenant on the fire department still. She passed away over the weekend.
Oh, did she really?
She did.
Any service, any feedback on when the service would be?
Service will be Saturday at Congdon's from 4 to 7.
Thank you.
Mhm. That's all I have.
Thank you, John. Trustee Mirabella.
I just wanted to say, reiterate what I was talking about before the meeting. I thought Halloween went great. I think it was a big turnout. I know the event the park had was very good. My son went to it. Said it was a good time. So I think people needed this. Talking to a few police officers, they were like, everybody acted respectful. People seemed happy. There was a lot of different types of people here from different communities, and everybody got along, and there were no issues that I heard of. So I just want to say kudos to that. I know we pride ourselves on doing Halloween on Halloween, and I'm glad that people can still be human beings, and we got to do that. So that was awesome. Other than that, Public Works has been really working hard. We got a couple setbacks that we won't talk about, but obviously people know what they are. So looking forward to get back on track with all that. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Mirabella. Trustee McCarthy.
Just thank you to the police department for your report this month. Thank you to the rec department, Scott, Trustee Whitmore, the staff, and all the volunteers for the two events, the Glow Walk and the Trunk or Treat. It was great. I know we were at the Trunk or Treat, and it was great to have events again. So thanks to everyone that put the time and effort into that. And just thanks to all our staff for doing this work, and please just keep staying safe.
Thank you, Trustee McCarthy. Trustee Hargit.
Just a couple of quick things. Yeah, Halloween definitely was exciting. I think we had more people than we've ever had. And there was a lot of innovation around the community as far as, different tubes to deliver candy. My favorite one, though, is there was a house that had a remote control car. They would drive the candy out to the road for you. So the contactless trick-or-treating was great. I didn't make it to trunk or treat, but kudos to Trustee Whitmore and the rec board for the Glow Walk. I really love the Go Winthrop Harbor program and the different events that have started with that. But the Glow Walk was a lot of fun. I hope that's something that becomes a tradition now and we can just keep building on. Also wanted to just comment, with the election yesterday, the referendum that was on the ballot did fail. But again, I think the point of putting something on the ballot is to get public opinion on it. This is an odd one to me that no one runs for the clerk position, but they also don't want us to eliminate the clerk position. But that, the public has spoken, and so thank everyone who came out and gave votes on that, and we'll see in the next election if anyone chooses to run for clerk. But building on kind of that idea of getting public input, community engagement, had a conversation with Greg and the mayor. We've had a number of conversations over the last few years about how can we better improve our transparency to the public, but also try and find new ways to engage the public and make sure they know what we're doing here, and give input on it. So we've talked about things here like the new website coming. Streaming our meetings, or even just when we started recording our meetings in person, putting the full agenda packets out to the public, adding an additional newsletter during COVID to make sure people knew what was going on. The mayor created a mayor Facebook page this year, to try and have another way of getting things out there. Putting referendums on the ballot, I think, is another way. Town hall meetings that we've held. But I talked to them about at the end of the year this year, trying to do whether it's a state of the village or an interactive annual report. I have access to software where we can, embed videos and pictures and make it interactive and be able to hit on, activities that each department is doing, highlight some of those things that don't necessarily fit cleanly in a department, like legislative actions and our response to COVID that kind of crosses over a lot of areas. 2020 has, it's really sucked, but it's also been one of those, unprecedented in the ways that we've had to respond and come together and make difficult decisions. And want to make sure that we continue being transparent and keeping the community informed of what we're doing. And so talked with Greg and the mayor about it. They said, yeah, bring it up tonight. And so, Greg, if you can start kind of planting that seed with department heads of, what are some of those key things that we want to highlight, but for the other trustees too, if it's something that you want to be featured in, whether it's a short video or just giving input on, for the area that I am the liaison to, how to, what are some of those things that we're really proud of this year or looking forward to going into 2021, please start, shooting those over to me or to Greg so that we can gather those. I'm going to start working on a storyboard with Greg and the mayor to, try and have something out, right at the end of the year to close out 2020 forever and look ahead to 2021.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. It's a great idea. I know we talked about it, and I'm looking forward to, putting something out there. Not only from what we've gone through over the last 8-10 months, but what we're going to be heading for the future, for next year. So I think that's a great idea. That's wonderful.
I think it's a place too to remind residents of where there's opportunities to volunteer and get involved. That it's not just us pushing content out, but saying, okay, but hey, we want you to join these different, rec board, EDC, planning and zoning. Right before COVID hit, I had requested volunteers for a historical preservation group. We had 8 people volunteer. I think that was the week before COVID hit. And so that's kind of been on hold, but yeah, finding ways and basically saying, and if what the skills and passion that you have don't fit cleanly into our committee structure, bring your ideas and let's figure it out.
Great, thank you. All right, Trustee Whitmore.
Yeah, first off, I would just like to thank everyone who attended our annual trunk or treat and costume contest. We had a huge turnout, despite obviously weather as well as COVID. So we definitely were very thrilled with the amount of people that were able to come out, along with what we're hoping is our new annual Winthrop Harbor Go Glow Walk. We had a lot of takeaways. Actually, we pretty much were sure that it was never going to happen because it was, right as the state was kind of closing up again. But no, it was great. We actually had a huge turnout for that too, considering it, I think it was 29 degrees, extremely windy. But we had a lot of people come, a lot of people that walked the whole track, which I was kind of shocked by. But thank you, Trustee McCarthy and Trustee Hargett, for coming and bringing your girls all dressed up. And then also the 2019 Little Miss Winthrop Harbor, as well as myself, will be holding another winter coat drive with drop locations at Village Hall, the Schlater Building, and a couple other areas around the village. Last year, we collected 780 coats along with other winter apparel, all donated to the Midwest Veterans Closet. So we're going to go ahead and go forward with that again. And then also just thank you, Greg, for providing the total amount of grant money that you've worked really hard at securing. The village, as well as taxpayers, really appreciate that hard work, just being able to find additional money to offset this very interesting year.
Thank you, Trustee Whitmore. Trustee Weiss.
Thank you. Yes, I want to again thank all the department heads for the hard work that they did. I was particularly proud of the police department and the report that I saw where the 2 officers went into a burning stove fire that was a fry pan, and the person, I guess, had too much to drink, but they did go in and they did get the person out, and they also put the fire out. But when you see our first responders, our staff, everybody's working hard through this COVID. It just makes me proud to be a Winthrop Harbor resident, and the way the trustees and everybody is working together to get through this pandemic. And so it's just a big thank you to all.
Thank you, Trustee Weiss. I'd also like to thank Trustee Whitmore on Trunk or Treat. I didn't make the Glow Walk. I'm sorry. I'll try to make it next year. But I had something else I had to do that night. But you know, and to all the police and fire department, I really like the report, the police report, or the annual report, or the monthly report it was. I briefly looked over it before I had to get on the Zoom, so I'll read it more in depth after the meeting. But I'm glad, I really like those monthly reports from the fire and police department. So also, I'd like to thank Greg once more. I thank him all the time, but he does so much, as does Julie now in the office there. So, and same with Debbie too. And welcome Pat to be assistant to Greg now. I'm looking forward to working with everyone down there. So that's all I have. I need to ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved, trustee Marabella.
McCarthy.
Second, McCarthy. All right. Roll call, please.
Hargit.
Aye.
Levin,
Aye.
Marabella,
Aye.
McCarthy,
Aye.
Weiss,
He got off. I think he's off.
okay, Whitmore.
Aye.
You ran quick.
Yeah.
His internet drops.
Yeah, I think his internet does drop. You're right.
You need to hook him up with-
He'll be off.
You need to hook him up with a good internet supplier in Winter Harbor.
Mhm.
All right. Meeting